I believe what I said, but I apologise for the delivery of it, because that was harsh.
Regardless of whatever happened on my series, like, I think I was more like sort of hurt and bothered by like sort of the personal sort of beeline for me.
I'm sorry, but I'm going to need those that didn't watch Mimi's season to take several seats and keep quiet. The audacity to have the likes of Tommy and Charlie sort of speak up for Sean and say that Sean is a victim in this situation. Sean is no victim. Sean was actually worse than what Scott did to him. He deserved more. People like Kieran, who were on Sean's season, were cheering because they know exactly what Sean put several people through by him playing the innocent little baby boy with blue eyes, and then going behind people's backs with Joey and trying to sort of be very manipulative and sort of malicious, actually. So the idea that everyone is trying to stick up for Sean, they need to go and watch his season and see how he behaved. And then they'll see that that little innocent look, play or persona he puts on is just an act. And I'm not buying it. And I'm a bit confused about what Whitney was trying to say in regards Leanne, because she was saying she's more financial, and you're very frugal in how you live your lifestyle. Because she knows Scott before they entered the villa this time. They met in the villa, they've been close friends throughout until they've come back in. So what is she trying to say? Is she trying to imply that Leanne is a gold digger or Leanne is a big spender? What is it? I didn't get that, and I really wish we had more clarity in that regard. And then Belle needs to take several seats. She needs to take several seats. Sean is not the one she wants to be fighting other girls for, really. Anyway, hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's your girl Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing Love Island All Stars Season 3, Episode 2. Sorry, I got lost there for a second. Anyway, so we pick up after, Scott has had a go at Shaq, and, well, he really didn't have a go at Shaq. He just said Shaq and Leanne were not compatible because of Tanya, and then Sean is the one he went to town on. So I really get it. Anyway, Sean and Shaq are told that they need to leave. It's time for them to leave and go to the hideaway. That's where they'll spend the night. Maya Jama leaves. Maya is taken aback and she's shocked. I love the way Kieran was excited. Kieran was excited because Kieran can't stand Sean. You barely see them together. Kieran knows how Sean moved in the villa when they were on the same season, and he's not fighting for Sean. That should say something to everybody who's trying to stick up for Sean, that if the person who was on the same season as Sean didn't call out, Scott for saying what he said, then why would everybody else think Sean is the victim in this situation? Kieran is very outspoken. He always stands for what is right. So the idea that he is standing there and is watching Scott drag, Sean for filth should tell people something else. I love the big high five that he gave Scott. He was excited because I think he really wanted someone to put Sean in their position. Anyway, Sean and Shaq go to the hideaway. Shaq was a bit confused because he was asking, do you have any beef? And Sean is saying, oh, I don't even know him from anywhere. I don't even know him on social media. We don't follow one another, so I don't understand. And it's like, well, you thought what you were doing in the villa, no one was going to call you out on it. And I'm happy that someone has called you out. Oh, I feel personally attacked. Well, how do you think Omar felt? How do you think Mimi felt? How do you think Josh felt? How do you think everybody else felt in the villa with you? Even the person you were coupled up with was embarrassed on your behalf. So the idea that you're playing victim, I don't buy it. Anyway, so you have the girls, Bella and, Leanne, they are taken aback. I think everyone was taken aback because they didn't understand what was going on in the Scott and Sean situation. But those that know are quiet. So the girls are sort of talking about it and they're questioning what really happened because they don't understand. You have Scott go for a chat with Bella, and they were really flirting hard. She's really flirting hard. She says Sean is her type. I think Belle's type is any guy who treats her very well or who smiles at her. I don't know whether she has a type because we saw her with Shaq and thought, oh my God, there's something there. Now she's with Scott. She's doing the same thing. So I think for her, it's just any guy that will catch on and keep her in the villa. That's what she's aiming for. I don't think she's really that into any of the guys as she makes out. Jack pulled Whitney for a chat. Do I see them as a couple? No, I see them as a friendship couple. I really do. Whitney sort of was saying that, she's never considered herself as dating a baby daddy, and she's always wanted her partner to be, their first child to be her first child. And so the idea that she has to date someone with a child is something that wasn't on her plate because she's Christian. I was like, I don't think it says so in the Bible, but anyway. So she said, this is opening her eyes to a different side, something new, something she hadn't considered. So she's happy about it. If she loves it, I love it for her. But I don't think Jack will have a connection in the villa. I think the only connection he'll have is people who know that his dad is Ronan Keating. You had Millie and Kieran sit by the fire pit. Millie was saying, Kieran, the public think he's her type because he's similar to the people she's dated, but she would prefer Charlie. Are we bothered? No. Do we care? No. I think for me, there's nothing stand out about Millie. I'm going to say that. There's nothing really stand out about Millie. If she likes it, I love it for her. But at the moment, there is nothing that I can say is stand out about her or her connection to Kieran. And then there was this conversation between Helena and Belle. Belle needs to move away from Helena. There are certain people that are just people that you shouldn't align yourself. Sean, Helena, and Tommy, those are not people you want to be next to because they come with a very bad track record in the villa. And so the idea that she thinks they're friends, I don't get it. They were sort of having this chat about her type, and she was saying that she really likes Scott. She gets giddy, she gets excited. I'm just like, girl, you've only had one chat with him. He then came out with Leanne to have a conversation with her. I think she was getting a coat, so they went to have a chat. And it's like, I don't like the fact that you have, Belle trying to be territorial over every single guy until she finds her man. She's in the villa to share. She needs to learn to share. Leanne and Scott were having this chat. She sort of said she wants someone who's nice, someone who's genuine, someone who's easygoing. Do I see them as a couple? I think so. Do I think Scott is serious? He says he is serious because his family has told him that it's time for him to find a partner. So I hope this is the one he finds his partner now because he's really been around them dating shows, as he said himself. Anyway, the islanders are asked to gather around the fire pit, for which they do, and then they get to play this dare game. So you'd pick a card that would say something on it, and then you'd roll the dice. And when you roll the dice, it's either you get to perform the task or you nominate somebody else to perform the task. So first up was Whitney. Hers was snog every islander of the opposite sex, and she got to pick herself, so she was excited to do that and happily carried out the task at her own pleasure. Jack picked his was snog the islander you want to get to know outside your couple. Sadly, his dice said you, so he picked Millie, and Millie kissed Charlie. Next up was Leanne. Have a three-way kiss with the two islanders you fancy the most. She rolled the dice, and sadly she picked Scott, and Scott got to pick Belle and Leanne. And it's like, Scott is messy because he's picked the two girls whose guys he sent to the hideaway. Make that make sense? Anyway, Jack, his was snog every islander of the opposite sex. His dice rolled you, so he picked Tommy. Helena was snog two islanders of the opposite sex and say who is the better. She rolled the dice, and then she had to pick Millie. Millie kissed Charlie and Scott, and she said Charlie was the better kisser. We all know she really likes Charlie. It wasn't about the kiss. It was just her trying to sort of embarrass Scott because she feels some type of way about how he called out Sean. That's just what I get. Tommy was snog an islander for 15 minutes. That's not your partner. He picked Jack. Jack decided to kiss Millie, and he said he enjoyed the kiss. Jess was moaning the ear of the islander you want to share a bed with. Her dice was you, so she picked Kieran. Kieran picked Jazz, and he moaned in her ear. Kieran was snog two islanders you'd love to rip their clothes off. Well, it was him, so he chose Leanne and Jess. And it's like, at least he's having an amazing time this time. He's not locked himself day one, so I love that for him. Scott was snog the islander you'd swipe right for. He kissed Belle, and Belle had to call him to say, you have to come to me, I don't want to come to you. And it's like, girl, you're trying to prove a point. Belle then went snog the islander who is your type on paper. She snogged Scott, and it was like, this is becoming, something else. Helena was snog the islander you are most excited to get to know. I said this before and I'll say it again. Helena will always want attention from someone who's in a couple with somebody else. The last one was Scott was snog an islander you think would be the best in bed. And just to be messy, Scottisha decided to go and kiss Leanne. And it's like, oh my God, because On her part, Belle, I think, expected him to kiss her, so him going to kiss somebody else is something that wasn't on her bingo card. So after the game, you have the Islanders get ready for bed. You have Whitney talking about her chat with Jack and how she really liked it. Everybody went to bed. With Shaq and Sean, they played rock paper scissors, and Shaq won the bet. That's said good for him. He deserves a good night's sleep because he's going to be grafting the next day. In the morning, you have the Islanders wake up. Obviously, there's still tension because people don't quite understand what's going on between Sean and Scott. You have the two boys come out of the hideaway and then they go with the rest of the guys. Sean is sitting with Leanne and Belle, and it's like production is really trying to be messy, aren't they? They're trying to show these boys that while you were away, Sean was correcting you girls. Anyway, Sean decides to vent to the guys. I don't know why he said that to me. I didn't do anything wrong to him. I don't even know him. The likes of Charlie to chime in and say, oh, it's unwarranted. You didn't see Sean on his season, so please take several seats. If you had seen how he behaved, you'd be embarrassed. And when you get home and you watch how he behaved, you will still be embarrassed. So the idea and the audacity to try and say that Sean is a victim, he's not a victim. Sean trying to puff up his chest and say, oh, I have to speak to Scott, I have to speak to Scott because it's unacceptable. The likes of Tommy chiming in, what for? This is not your business. Mind your own business. So Scott then went for a chat with Sean, and everyone was trying to listen in. Sean was putting on a persona, he was putting on a performance for everybody else. It wasn't warranted. Why did you say that to me? I don't know you. I don't know about your dating shows. I don't know your history. And it's like, Sean, everybody knows how you behaved. There's a reason why you've come into the villa, and your reason has blown apart on day one because court has called you out on something you're trying to get over, and so you're here pretending like you're the victim because you even said post show your interviews you were saying it wasn't your fault, you were just trying to do what Joey was telling you to do. So the idea that whatever games you played in your season are coming back to bite you is something you're not expected, and I'm happy Scott called you out. You trying to puff up your chest and trying to have everybody else say you're the man, you're the man. No, you're not the man. You then had Belle and Leanne have a conversation about Scott. I think they're trying to suss each other out to see where they stand, to see who Scott really likes, because Scott is being very vague in the sense that he kissed both girls, so they can't one up one another and say, no, he's my type. So they're trying to suss each other out to see who he likes and who is most probably going to steal him. That's the impression that I got. Shaq having a conversation with Helena is something that wasn't on my bingo card. I think Shaq knows that all the black girls are going to come in and say Tanya is our friend, so we're not going to go there. And I think this is why he's trying to diversify his portfolio so he gets to stay in the villa. Do I think Helena is anyone's match? No. I think people will use Helena just to stay on the show, not because there is anything romantic there. The distance between them, you could tell that they were both forcing it. I think production set them up for that chat. You then had Scott having a chat with Leanne. They were talking about children. Do they see each other having children together? What's their plans? What's the type of person that they want? Do I see them as a couple? I do, but I'm sort of questioning the comment that Whitney made because it's now making me ask, what is it? Is she very materialistic or what is it? Because Scott seems very laid back. He seems very laid back. He seems to attack when he feels offended or when someone he cares about feels offended. But most times he seems very laid back. But I can see them being a couple. I think they would be very cute. Um, Suddenly we find out about this connection between Millie and Sean. Apparently, they've known each other. They met at a party. They've been DMing each other. It seems they've been communicating prior to coming on the show. Is this something that I would be surprised about? No. I think Sean, at the end of the day, was just looking for someone, and he's looking for someone, and still cannot find someone, regardless of his sweet chat. And so he's decided to put the sweet chat away and try something new. For Belle to then come and pull him for a chat. I don't understand why she's being territorial. She doesn't like him. Her connection with Shaq is even stronger than her connection with Sean. Her connection with Scott is even better than her connection with Sean. So the idea that she was trying to be territorial over Sean of all people, I don't get. You then had Whitney and Jack catch up from their previous conversation because obviously they had stopped at the baby chat. I think Whitney is another person who's going to struggle to find a connection in the villa. And so she's going to latch on to anyone because you need to be in a couple in order to stay. So if it means humoring this baby daddy, even though she doesn't want a baby daddy, she's going to do it. Otherwise, I don't see them as a romantic couple, but they might surprise me because I was surprised that she actually lasted that long with Lachlan because I didn't see it. So there might be something there that everybody else is not seeing. Having Kieran and Jess go to the terrace was something I didn't expect. It seems like production is pushing couples to say, you try and explore with you try and explore with you. Jess is coming up as, I'm the former winner, so you need to come to me. No, nobody needs to come to you, girl. You need to graft. I think she doesn't want to look like a fool because on her season she grafted guys and they didn't treat her very well. And I think this is why she's very standoffish on this chat, on these conversations with these guys. Even Kieran said this chat didn't go as well as I expected it to. And I'm not surprised. She's putting on a persona, she's putting on an act. She wants the guys to really work hard. And I think with time, when bombshells come in, their heads are going to turn away and she's going to be left with no one, just like on her season. I love that Shaq and Leanne were sort of having a catch up. And Shaq was sort of asking Leanne, so how are things going? How do you feel about Scott? Is he your type? Do you think he's someone you could date? Do I think she could date him? Yes. But then on the other side, at the fire pit, you have Scott having a chat with Whitney. And Whitney is saying, you're very laid back, you're very calm. And so financially, I don't think you two are going to align. And it's like, what does she mean? Does she mean that, Leanne is all about the most expensive things and he is very easygoing and is very frugal in his spending? What does she mean? I didn't quite get that. And I was really waiting for clarity. I would have loved clarity on that. Scott was saying he's open to getting to know her. He can see something growing. Maybe she might tone down her high spender, big baller ways if that's the case, because it's something, hopefully they can work on. But at the moment with Whitney, I think they have this strong sort of friendship, a brother-sister type of relationship, Scottisha and Whitney, that I could never see them dating. But I'm happy that they're both in the villa together because they can keep each other company and they can look out for one another, which is something that I love. For Charlie to pull Millie to the to the secret garden for a chat, am I surprised? No. I was expecting that. It was just a matter of time. Do I think they've got a romantic connection? No. I think it's spark. I think there's a physical attraction there. That's where it ends. Do I see it lasting longer than this? I might be surprised. Molly and Tom are still going. I didn't see it there. So they could be the next Molly and Tom and they might surprise all of us. At the moment, I don't think there's any couple that stands out for me. So I can't wait to see what happens next. Anyway, thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Click on the link in my video to watch my review from episode 1. Bye everyone.